All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you guys for being here and welcome to our first ever final expense training with our friend and guest host, Mr. Oscar Gonzalez, a longtime friend of mine here in the business. Here to drop some knowledge bombs on our final expense team. I think it's always good, in my opinion, to add some outside perspective and opinion from other folks, from other professionals in the industry, just kind of getting outside of our own little way of thinking. But just to give context for my team, I want to make sure that we are going to continue to do business as usual, following our script, doing the things that we do. But hopefully, there's some nuggets here that Oscar can drop. Maybe he's dropped some kind of a phrase or tonality or something that you maybe pay attention to in your presentations moving forward that maybe you hadn't in the past. Maybe you can find some unique tips or things that you can apply to your presentation or your approach with the client. So that being said, I want to welcome and thank you for joining us, Oscar. Really greatly appreciate you being here, my friend.
Yeah, no, always a pleasure, man. You and I have known each other for a little while now, and it's been awesome working together and helping you guys with ads and some of the other things that we work on. And I think this is a great opportunity, and we're going to do a few of these over the next couple of weeks. So I kind of planned it out in a way so that over the next few weeks that I jump on and we do these calls together, that I give agents kind of from A to Z just a backdrop on essentially not just like the sales process, but also the mindset, the idea going into these leads, working leads in general, not just in final expense, but just leads in general, right? And some of you guys are new salespeople, some of you guys have been around for a long time. So I want to make sure that I include before we get into, the actual nuts and bolts of the sales process, the mindset one of the person that fills out a lead form that then ends up in your CRM and now you're going to go and call them, right? So I think it's important because it'll help you prepare. You'll have the right expectations and you will just attack the leads in a very different way if you truly understand where the leads come from and how those people think about when they're actually filling out a lead form. So let's start with is everybody here pretty new to final expense? Do we have some veterans in the room?
Yeah, we definitely have a couple vets here. The folks that with some
Awesome.
experience from outside, but I also have people that literally have never sold a final expense policy. So a little bit of
Awesome.
a mixed bag. And one thing that Oscar alluded to that I didn't share with you guys, but to kind of pull the curtain back, Oscar's actually our lead marketing manager for our Facebook ads. He's the expert that is helping us generate these ads at a affordable number. And quite frankly, the same guy who's putting up the ads for David DeFord and the Dig Agency. That's kind of where Oscar and I's relationship goes back to. And also for those that don't know, Oscar I think is the number one lead generator in the nation right now for final expense. So he knows a thing or two, I guess you can say it. So just
Yeah.
less context on who he is and why we brought him in today. So good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've been in not just like lead generation, but sales my whole life. I'm 43 years old. I've been doing sales since I was about 15 years old. I've been on the phones in some way, shape, or form, mortgages, insurance, real estate. I've made my way through a few different industries, and then really lead generation. I started when I got into ecom back in like 2012, and from there, I really grew a business running ads and it was selling products. But then that really transitioned into insurance when I came in probably about 3 years ago. And I was an agent myself, right? I was generating my own leads. I was, doing basically front to end. And it's really tough, right? And from there, I learned. It took me a while to, get to where I am today. But in that, those growing pains, those mistakes, all those things that I made, I decided that I could help other people and other companies, grow their businesses by helping them again take control of their own marketing, generate their own leads, and then implementing really good systems. Because one side of this, I always look at sales and lead generation as like a train track, right? Like one side of it is the leads, The other side of it is the sales and what we're doing with those leads when they enter our system, when they go into the CRM. So if either one of those tracks is off, then the system is not going to work properly. You're going to have issues and you're going to have some growing pain. So it's really important, again, going into it now, that we talk about like the lead, right? The lead. And I'm just going to touch base on a couple of things. Primarily, I want you guys to know, and this goes for mainly the new people, obviously the vets in the room, you guys have been selling Final Expense, you guys know the deal. But I think it's really important for the new folks to understand the mindset of somebody that's on social media looking for, looking at your ads or looking at our ads. And the first thing I'll start by saying is that nobody on social media is looking for Final Expense, okay? There is not one person that's on there that jumps on their feed that's 50 plus that goes, gosh, I want to go on Facebook and find burial insurance, right? That's just not a thing. And understanding that is going to give you a really good insight on how to attack the leads, deal with the leads, work the leads. Okay. So what we do on social media is we're trying to capture the attention of an audience, right? In this case, we're looking for those folks that are 50 plus, 55 plus, that perhaps have a family and have not set up something to protect them when they pass. So everything starts with getting their attention, right? Capturing the attention, doing it in a really good way. And we do that by delivering really strong hooks that attack the pain points of not having Final Expense. Okay. So for example, a hook could be something as simple as like, you might die tomorrow. And if you do, how will your family cover the $15,000 funeral bill that will be due in the next 48 hours after your death? Right. So if that person who's over 50 is scrolling on social media and they see that and they have a family, it's likely going to capture their attention. Something that you guys should be really proud of and know cold-heartedly is that every single lead that you guys get is delivered in this manner, right? We don't bait and switch people. We're not running, false advertisement. We are very, very direct because we have no time to BS and, lie to people, right? And these are tactics that exist in many industries, but in insurance is one of them. And so when we create an ad, it's very direct. It's, hey, are you over the age of 50? Do you need insurance? Have you protected your family? Because if you don't, here are the things that are going to happen. And if you're interested, here's what you can do to solve this problem, right? So hook, pain point, solutions, and then we get them to fill out the lead form. Now, the person, as soon as they fill out that lead form, they then are going to just continue scrolling on Facebook, right? It's going to take them maybe a couple of minutes to go through the process of answering some questions. We're going to try to get a pre-booked appointment. We're going to try to get a call to come in. There's different campaigns that we run that you guys are seeing come across the CRM. But the most important thing to keep in mind is that once that person is done with that process, however long it takes, those few minutes, they then go back into their feed and they're watching the things that are fed to them in the feed. It might be a car chase. It might be somebody eating donuts and stuffing their face. It might be a comedy skit, whatever it is. Within 20 minutes, 15 minutes, they have forgotten that they filled out a lead form for Final Expense. That doesn't mean that they don't have interest. It just means that they don't know who we are. They've never heard of us before. They've never spoken to you. And we captured their attention. Now they keep going. Now it's our job, once we capture this lead, how are we going to attack it? How are we going to present ourselves? How are we going to contact? How consistent are we going to be throughout that lead to try to get the conversion? Understanding that not everybody that you talk to is going to be a sale, right? That's where the skill of selling somebody, of converting somebody into what you have to offer them is so important. And these trainings are going to make you guys understand and help you guys understand, one, how to intro a call, how to go through discovery, which is one of the most important parts of a sales pitch, the actual process, right? Gathering that information, and then getting closer to closing that person, right? Getting real commitments. Yeah, go ahead, JD.
Yeah, I kind of had a question, or maybe it's a point to make, is that one thing that's different from the leads that we're generating for our agency versus, let's say you're an independent agent. A
Mm,
lot of independent agents will buy their leads from a lead vendor. So you're thinking like TTC Leads or Happy Agent Lead, like all of the lead vendors. And the reality of that situation is those ads, like the agent never sees the ad, has no idea actually whatever says. That's kind of proprietary information, as they call it, right? Because otherwise you can just copy it and run in your own ad. But there's a lot more to it than that. I'll just leave it there. But really, the disadvantage for those agents is the fact that who knows what the company name, it could be senior business specialist or some generic name that they use as the company name to run those ads on. Whereas our ads specifically say 360 Insurance Group is run through our own ad account. And our ad account currently, like our Facebook page, if you haven't liked it yet, it's like what? I haven't looked lately, Oscar. Last time I looked, like 50,000 likes or something like that. It was
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
other thing that this one's more of a question, maybe Oscar, is my understanding of the way Facebook works is once somebody like it's targeting these people based on these filling out these leads because these people are fitting that profile of that we're targeting, and more specifically, the people that are more likely to fill out a lead form. So I'm curious, in your experience, does that then mean that these people who fill our form out for funnel expense insurance could potentially be shown other ads from other agencies since they converted with us? Would they then be more likely to be targeted by other companies?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's and it goes into why it's so important to understand this part before actually going into the sales process and the intro and the pitch, because speed to lead. And I know a lot of you guys have heard that word, and vets hear this all the time. But speed to lead, right? Somebody fills out that form right now, and they're then back on their feed scrolling. Just like right now, if you guys go on Instagram, on TikTok, on any social media account, and you click on an ad within seconds of you getting off of that ad, you're going to be delivered several other ads for that same service or product. And the reason for it is because Facebook is a marketplace for advertising, right? That's how they generate the billions of dollars that they make. It's completely on advertising. And they make money when they show an ad to somebody, right? So if somebody sees an ad for Final Expense, the algorithm has identified that that person has an interest in that specific service. Therefore, they're going to serve additional ads from competitors to that person. And it creates competition. It creates a demand and supply system, right? A supply and demand system that makes people either work in it properly, or those that don't really understand it end up falling by the wayside. And what I mean by that is, again, not understanding who your prospect is, what their mindset is when they look at your ad and then they see other ads. It can literally make you miss a ton of opportunities, right? Because if that ad is delivered to, let's say her name is Sally, right? And she gets the ad, she's 60 years old, she's got a couple of kids, she doesn't have anything set up, she's on a fixed income, she sees our ad. Now, to add to that real quick, the difference, and it's so important, guys, the messaging that we deliver versus what a lead vendor is going to deliver. The lead vendor, they're motivated to sell you leads. They're going to make money every time you buy a lead from them. What we're doing is we're not motivated to sell you leads, right? We're motivated to make sure that we're presenting the right message from the beginning so that we don't waste any time, and so that when an agent calls them, they understand what the ad is about. They understand what the message was. Again, there is no bait and switch. And that's a huge advantage that you guys have over anybody that's buying leads from a lead vendor. And I mean anybody. There are, and even a company like TTC Leads, which, listen, they've been around for many, many years. They still are motivated to sell leads, right? They make money every time a lead sells. So when the motivation to make money is driven by a sale of a lead, you have to always wonder what methods are being used to generate those leads, because the lower they can generate that lead for them, the more margin they're going to make on it. So you guys are already on a huge advantage going into anybody that fills out a lead form and you compete with. Okay. Now, with that said, The person fills out the form, they continue scrolling, they now get delivered other ads, and they're still going to forget who they talked to or what they filled out. So now what becomes really important is understand that, one, not take offense, not let the emotional side of making calls and having somebody say, well, no, I didn't request this, or hang up on you, or F you, or whatever, all the objections and rejections that we get when we're on the phones. It's really important, especially for the new people, to really understand that this is not anything other than business, right? You cannot feel any type of way about somebody hanging up on you or somebody saying that they didn't fill it out, even though literally 10 seconds prior, we have their IP address, we have all their information of when they did it. You can't take offense to that, right? This is a numbers game. And 360, JD, the team, gosh, they're investing a huge amount of money to make sure that you guys are getting the volume that you need to find the people that are truly in need of your service, because not everybody needs it. Even though they might have interest, not everybody's going to turn into a sale. It's a numbers game. So we have to make sure that we get you guys enough volume so that you can do the activity and find the sales and the people that really need our help. Having that mindset and understanding that the more people you get through that hang up or say no, the closer you are to the people that are actually in need and are going to say yes, right? And it's really easy in this business and in sales in general to look at that completely flipped, right? I hear it all the time from new agents, from people that buy leads, from people that try all different lead sources. And they always go, man, but I made 30 calls and 15 of these people said no, and they said they didn't want it and they didn't know what I was talking about. And man, so what's the point? Does this even work? Is it a scam? All these thoughts enter your mind, which pull you away from reality, which pull you away from what's really present, which is the fact that not everybody's going to buy from you guys, right? That doesn't exist. And so understanding that and knowing and shifting that mindset is going to put you in a much better place. And I'll give you my own example as reference, right? And this doesn't happen as much anymore, but many years on the phones, and some of you older veterans that have been in sales for a long time, you know this, right? Like, I lived in a place in sales where I had to make 300, 400, 500 dials a day to get to the sales that I needed to get, right? And there was no questions asked. And if I didn't do it, I was fired, right? And the person was fired, and the next one came in and did it over. And it was just a repetitive process. But in that process, I learned that fortitude, right? I learned the consistency of staying on top of it. And instead of thinking about the people that hung up on me, I'm just making my way through my list to get to those folks that you're going to connect with, that you're going to have a real relationship with, and that you're going to be able to not just present your service, but actually convert that person into a client that then leads into all kinds of things, right? Referrals, follow-ups. And so it's really important, the mindset, guys. Flick that switch when you get on the phones today, and remember that people are going to say no to you. Who cares? Brush it off, keep going, because within the numbers that you're calling are deals and are people that are waiting for it. Okay. So questions on that first part there. I want to make sure that I stop and give people a chance to ask questions.
Yeah, let me jump in first, Oscar, and then I'll pass the mic to the team. First I want to mention, as far as the management goes, that's kind of the difference between working with somebody like Oscar than buying leads from a lead man. Like, we're not buying leads third party where there's an additional cost baked in on top of it. We're getting our leads at cost, and we're paying Oscar and his team as consultants or managers of our program, right? So just context there to help keep our lead costs down, to help in this program. So therefore, in other words, Oscar's got a vested interest to make sure we're successful, because if he's not making money on the leads or on the ads themselves. He makes money when we make money. In other words, I wanted to make sure that part was clear. The other thing, Oscar, you really hit on a very big pain point or soft spot, at least for our agency, because I literally had an agent yesterday. I was on the phone with them and they were describing the exact situation like, oh man, I'm so scared. I hate when Monday rolls around. I don't want to pick up the phone. I'm just so scared. I talk to these people. They don't want to talk to me. And like, I don't understand. They're like, I've got their information. I told them on the phone, like, oh, that wasn't me. I didn't fill it out. It's like, what do you mean it wasn't you? I've got you. Who filled this for? Like, and they just went off the rails with that. And it literally drove them out of the business. And maybe we as an agency could have done a better job of preparing you. Like, that's just the reality of the business. The most successful people in this business are hearing 90 to 95 no's or no answer to get the 5 to 10 yeses, right? So that, I think that context is important. The other takeaway from this for me is the speed to lead, right? Because who knows if maybe they filled out another form before and now that's why they're seeing ours, or maybe they filled out ours and they're going to see more. Like, that makes it just more impactful. Like, hey man, we gotta get it. We gotta text them, we gotta call, like, you know what I'm saying? I gotta race them. And then the other takeaway to that, to me, is making sure that we are doing a bang up, fantastic, solid as concrete job of underwriting these folks because of the options that we have available to us with the carriers that we're using, like Trinity Family Benefit, for an example.
Mm-hmm.
They are like a price buster option. So the better you're able to underwrite and get them better coverage or lower cost, the less likely some guy from another agency could be calling them tomorrow and trying to replace your policy. But if you wrote them the right policy, like if you wrote them a GTL or you wrote them an AIG when they could have qualified for first aid coverage, that just puts your business at risk. So we got to make sure that we're doing a good job of underwriting and making sure we're always giving them the best option for their, for their needs and for their budget.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I'll touch on that in a second. Any questions? Anybody have any questions on just that first part that we just discussed?
Oh, I'm sure there's some. Let's see if we can drum something up. Got to hang out. I got to put a carrot out there. Maybe, I don't know.
And we're good. And look, if no questions and you guys are just all ears, I'm good too. I just want to make sure that I stop. And if you guys do want to comment or say anything on that we're giving you that opportunity. Look, I'll add a couple things to that, right? Like, yes, speed to lead. It's so important. I'll give you a really important statement, guys. If you guys are not getting no's, if you're not getting hung up on, you're not doing enough business. That's the reality of sales, right? You do not get yes until you get no's. And the more no's you get, the more yeses you're going to get because it's just a numbers game. Now, JD made a really good point that, you're going to get 90, 95 no's to get your 5 to 10 yeses. And that's because our goal is to get you volume, right? And that is the play in sales. The more people you can contact, the more chances you are at working the law of averages, which state that you should see 5 to 10% of all the leads that you have should convert into sales, right? That means that if you get 100 leads in a week, for example, that you're going to have the opportunity to close 5 to 10 of those people. Now, some of you guys that are brand new, you're not going to start at 5% because you don't have the ability yet. You don't have the training. You're still building how to pitch somebody, how to lock somebody in, how to bring them through the process of closing them at the end. And so you might start at 1 or 2%, and then you'll improve to 3, and then you'll improve to 4, and so on and so forth. But once these things get going and once you're all gears on, you'll have the opportunity to close at minimum a 5% of all leads that you're going to get. And so my job is to, 1, get you quality exclusive leads. And then number 2, JD, the team, and I'm here to help as well, is to sharpen you guys and make sure that when you get on the phone with someone that you sound confident, that you understand what you're talking about, and that you can bring that person in an organized fashion through a sales process that starts, again, intro, discovery, right? EAP, close. That's the process. If you fumble through that process, you're going to lose deals. If you don't sound confident, you're going to lose deals. If you don't sound like you know what you're talking about, and what'll be very important in the beginning for you guys that are just starting off is fake it till you make it, right? You have to sound confident, even though you might be looking at the screen freaking out because you don't know where to bring the person next. and what e-app am I going to open, and what am I doing here, and what button do I click, and oh my gosh, did I get all the information correct? Oh shoot, I forgot to get medications. All these things that are going to come across your desk and your computer when you're on the phone with someone, you've got to make sure that you are calm, that you're collected, and that you deliver confidence through the phone. Because if you don't, people can't see your face. All they can do is hear you. So if you don't sound confident, if you don't sound like you know what you're talking about, if you don't build a relationship and a connection with that person will close up, walls will come up, and you'll start hearing the things of, oh, okay, send me the info, or I don't have time right now, call me back tomorrow, right? All the objections that we hear. And more often than not, most objections are just a front, right? They're not telling you the real reason why they don't want to do this, which is likely you don't exude trust. I don't know who you are. I don't trust you. I don't know if I can trust you. Those are really the main reasons, because it's a service, right? It's a product. You have it. It's regulated by states. There is no black and white. There is no gray area. It's black and white. So if you can connect with the person, if that person can feel trust from you, then they're going to be able to connect, let down their guard. And when they let down their guard, that's the ability that we have to be able to convert that into a sale. Okay. So the person doesn't know, always remember this. They don't know who you are. They don't know where you come from. It's our job now that we have their information to create that trust with that person when we get on the call. So if you guys are getting pre-booked appointments, right, in calendars, and I'll say this, and then we'll get right into kind of intro and discoveries. The last thing I'll mention about like prior to somebody filling it out. If somebody is booking an appointment for you, and let's say it's for tomorrow at 11, and it comes across your CRM, and you're like, oh my gosh, look at this. I got an appointment. It's for tomorrow at 11. The lead just came in. We have AI that's texting it, that's trying to engage with the person, notifying them of the appointment. The best thing you can do, guys, is not wait until tomorrow at 11 to call that person. The best thing you can do, if you're not on a call right then and there, is to pick up the phone and dial that person that came in right now, but set an appointment for tomorrow at 11. Why? Why is that important? Well, for all the reasons that we just said, right? That person is never going to have more interest and intent than the seconds following them completing the process, right? Filling out the form, going to a funnel, booking a time and a date, submitting, hitting complete. The few minutes after that, they remember what they did. They recall clicking on it. They recall seeing the ad. So you contacting them right then and there is always going to be the best solution. Why? Because again, by tomorrow at 11, they might forget that they booked an appointment with you, and it can't take offense to it, right? They spend 3 minutes filling out a lead form and booking an appointment, and then they're off. Again, they have no idea who you are. Why should I trust you? What are you doing for me that should make me remember you or the call that I'm going to have with you tomorrow? That's as plain as this is. And if you can think about things in this manner, then you're going to have, again, you'll have such an advantage over all the salespeople that are out there going, but you know, they get on a call with the person and it's like, or they didn't pick up when they on the set call. And then the feedback is like, well, I called the appointment. She didn't pick up. Why didn't she pick up? I've called her 3 times. Because she doesn't know you. It's because she has no idea what you're going to do for her. Why should she get on this call? Again, if you shift the mindset to that, you are going to breeze through the people that don't pick up. And when you get to the people that are ready, you are going to excel and convert those people. John, your hand's up. What's your question, bud?
Yes, Oscar, thank you. So my question is, I wanted to know if there is a difference between the people that we are speaking with that set appointments versus people that are picking up on the power dialer. And if there is a difference, can you go over what those differences are, please?
Sure. It's the same leads. The power dialer is an additional tool that JD and the team put together for you guys. to make us more efficient, right? To be able to dial 3-4 lines at a time, because we're trying to get you guys the volume needed to produce and be successful. So the lead comes in, person fills it out on Facebook, that lead goes into the CRM and then goes into your dialing automation system. It's the same type of lead, it's the same system. It's just an additional tool that you guys have to be able to dial faster and more efficiently. But it is the exact same process, it's the exact same lead. So there is no difference in leads. They all come from the same place. Some just go and, again, pre-book appointments, and others go in, but every lead makes its way into your automated power dialer. Does that make sense?
It does. It's great. They're getting the option to talk to someone right away versus booking appointments ultimately. Right.
Yeah, because again, like, and I'll give you my own experience, right? And I do this now in this marketing business, right? In my company, if somebody goes to my website and fills out the form and they're interested in it, and they pick a date to talk to one of my salespeople, let's say tomorrow at 11, I have a huge pet peeve when I look at a calendar or I look at a lead and I see that it's for tomorrow at 11 and that nobody has called that person like right now. Because I will tell you that if I'm on the phone selling life insurance and that lead comes to me and they book an appointment with you and they book an appointment with me, I'm calling that person right then and there. I'm going to triple dial it and I'm going to hammer it. And if I get that person on the phone, I'm going to take that deal from you. And by the time you call them tomorrow at 11, I've already signed them up. They're already my client. I'm already trying to work referrals. I'm on to the next one. Right. And this is the competition that is out there, guys. There are really, really good people out there on the phones. There are really good people that are efficient on the phones. And so our goal is to make you guys as efficient and even better, right? Improving and understanding what your competition is doing. And that if you're sitting back waiting for somebody to pick up a call, you're gonna lose a lot of opportunities. Okay.
Yeah, Oscar, you bring up what I would consider, quite frankly, a massive shift in the way that we've been training and coaching our agents, and I understand the reasoning behind it, and I do appreciate the insight. Because prior to this conversation, we were instructing our folks like, hey, the lead gets assigned to you. Once they have an appointment, that lead then gets assigned to you, and you're just going to monitor the conversation to help the text messages, reminders, and things of that nature to help, or to prepare them to show up for that reminder. But this is a novel. This is a new idea for me to call them immediately, and kind of what I'm thinking, the thought process behind that, kind of what you're alluding to, is the fact that if somebody's already taken the step of filling out the form, number one, then they go to a second page and see the calendar and take that additional step of filling in the calendar, picking a time. Like, in general, just speaking, that's a warmer lead. That's a more high intense, more serious lead. So therefore, why not just call them right freaking now when they're in the mentality like, hey, you know what? You're right. I do need this coverage. Like, let me go ahead and talk to somebody. And by the way, for the folks that haven't really had enough leads come into you, or you weren't monitoring the text messaging before we switched to this new Wolfpack strategy, a lot of those people, not a lot, there's a percentage of the people that book appointments and they'll get like, hey, just reply back to confirm your appointment. But instead like, hey, I just want to talk to somebody right now. Like, I want my quote, like, I just want to get this over with. And so there is definitely if you want to use the phrase low hanging fruit there, I guess that's a turn of a phrase to use. Like, there are people that are seriously interested and they're like, hey, I want the quote. What is the number? Show me the number. If it's affordable, I'll just buy right now. And so that's interesting. And I'm glad you brought that up, Oscar. I'm curious to see how that plays out for us, but let's go ahead and take that and move forward. When you get a booked appointment. Now the question then becomes, Oscar, what if I got a booked appointment and I'm away from my computer, off the phone, or it's on the weekend? My appointment's like Tuesday at 1 and it came in on a Sunday. Like, do I still call them on Monday, or how do you handle that? You still call them as quickly as you can, even if it's later?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, if you're on a call, then there's not much you can do. You got to let the automation work. You got to let it do its thing and get to it as soon as you can. You said low-hanging fruit, right? And that is exactly what appointments or survey questions let us understand. What are the low-hanging fruit? Because it means somebody saw your ad, clicked on it, filled out the form, right? That's one type of person. Then there's the other type of person that takes those steps and then also pre-books an appointment, right? So for me, it's great that we have a pre-booked appointment, and we are going to get to the point, guys, as you guys are training and improving, where we're really going to grow the volume, and you're going to have so many appointments that you're just going from appointment to appointment. But we're not there yet, right? Where we are right now is we need to get you guys to the point where if somebody picks up that call, there's a 40-50% chance that you're going to close that person. Those are the numbers that we should be kind of targeting, right? From contact, if I get you on the phone, you should be able to close 30 to 50% of those people. As we start seeing those improvements, we really start focusing on building more appointments and more appointments, because now we have a superstar team, right? Now we have people that we know the second somebody gets on the phone, gosh, it's a 1 in 2 chance that my guy or my gal is going to close this deal right now. And so, but that takes time, just like it takes time for you guys that are brand new to sales. You're not going to be able to close. There's going to be deals that you're not going to close today that you will close in 2 weeks. And there's deals in 2 weeks that you're not going to close that you'll close a month out, because you're constantly improving and you're getting better and better. Same thing happens as the agency grows, is we're shifting and doing things differently. But right now, which goes in line with the Wolfpack strategy, right? It's like, let's get all the leads in a pot. Who is the person who is going to dial these leads as much as possible and pull the money out of this pot? Because the money's in there. It's stewing around with the rest of the stuff. Somebody's got to get in there and call and dial and do the activity to pull the deals out. So yeah, if you get an appointment on Saturday and you're not working on Saturday, then Monday morning, you should be looking at your appointments, and the very first thing you should be calling should be the people that set appointments, because those are your low-hanging fruit, right? The people that took an additional step past just filling out a lead form. And that is the best way to manage and efficiently look at leads that are coming in. Now, some people will say, well, gosh, that feels so like abrupt, right? If I booked an appointment for tomorrow at 5, getting a call like right now might not be ideal. And what if the person says, no, I don't want to talk right now, I booked an appointment? Yeah, that's going to happen. That's where our sales skills come in. So example, if I get a lead that comes in today, booked for tomorrow, and I'm calling them right now, I'm going to say, hey, JD, Oscar here. I just got your information for, you requested more information for final expense programs. You just saw the video on Facebook. I have your zip code as 12345. Is that correct? Right? I'm not asking their name. I'm not asking if I can speak to. I am assuming that the person that picks up the phone is the person that I need to talk to. If that's not the case, then they'll tell me quickly, no, this is not him. They're here. They're not here. They're there. But I am going to assume that the person that picks up the phone is my lead and the person that I need to speak to. And if you notice, I go right into it. I have your zip code as 12345. I'm not giving time for this person to say, well, who are you? What do you call? None of that. Now, the person might say, yes, I did, but I booked an appointment for, yeah, I did. But you know what? I booked an appointment for tomorrow at 5. Oh, you know what? And then I'll play kind of this. I'll say something like, oh, you know what? I didn't even notice it. Let me take a look. You know what? I do see that your appointment came in for tomorrow at 5. I had a few extra minutes. These programs are fantastic. And I figured I'd get this information to you as quickly as possible. Should really only take us a few minutes. And you're in Dallas, Texas, correct? Right? I've answered, right? I've overcome the objection. I've rebutted it, and I'm back into my pitch. I'm back into confirming that they're in a city and a state. And it's very important that you guys control conversations, which we're going to learn and get into. This is a game, guys, right? When you pick up the phone and somebody else picks up the phone, who is going to win? Is it going to be them or is it going to be you? And if you can win, it means you have control over the conversation the entire time. Now, that doesn't mean that you're forcing your way in. It doesn't mean that you're rude. It doesn't mean that you're pushy. It just means that you have control of this conversation and you are directing the call where it needs to go. The better salespeople, the top closers, are typically folks that control a conversation and lead a person to buy without that person really ever realizing that they were being closed in the first place. And that's a skill, guys. That's not something that you're just going to have today. That's something that for me, it's taken me 20 years to get to the point where I am in being able to close somebody on the phone, whether I'm selling them a bag of chips or whether I'm selling them final expense. It's the exact same process, right? The product changes, the service changes, but the call flow and the control that you must have and the discovery, right? And the connection that you must make with that person, those things never change. They just become higher in dosage. Meaning, if I'm selling somebody a bag of chips, I probably don't need to connect with that person as much. But if I'm going to sell them life insurance, something that's going to protect their family when they die, gosh, I need to connect with that person. I need to understand their motives. Why are you filling this out? Why are you looking for this right now? What has you looking for final expense? If you die today, who pays for your bills tomorrow? Have you thought about that, Mr. Jones? Yes, you have. Great. And how would your family feel that day that you pass and they now have to come up with $10,000 or $15,000? Would that be a financial burden to them? Right? These are the connecting questions that are going to put people in a little bit of uncomfortable situations, but are also going to let their guard drop because you're trying to connect with somebody on a deeper level than just like, hey, here's life insurance. It's going to cost you $30 a month. Are you ready to go? All right. And we'll talk a little bit about that. I don't want to get ahead of myself. But the point being is you have to take control of the conversation. And if you're calling somebody now, if the person says, Oscar, I don't have time. I don't have time. That's why I booked an appointment for tomorrow at 5:00. I'm sorry. I just don't have time right now. You know what, Mr. Jones? That's no problem. Like I said, I just had a few extra minutes. You know what? By the way, I actually have time in an hour. Would you have time in the next hour for me to call you? Right? I'm going to come right back into it and I'm going to try to pull you and get you made. You can't do it right now? Cool. How about in a couple of hours? Right? Because the sooner I can get you on this, the sooner I can start controlling the conversation and presenting to you what you actually need, the sooner I'm going to be able to convert the sale. So I'm going to take 2 or 3 stabs at this thing before you literally say, no, I'm sorry, I don't have time today. That's why I booked the call at 5. Great, Mr. Jones. That's no problem. I have you set up for 5:00 tomorrow. I might even say, hey, by the way, I have an 11 a.m. Would that work for you, right? I'm always trying to reel this thing back in and get them close to me so that I have the opportunity to convert because you don't know what's going to happen, right? I hang up that call. They filled out another lead form, and that other agent might call them an hour or 2 later and catch them when they have 10 or 15 minutes and go through a pitch and sell them insurance. And now here I come, 5:00 tomorrow. I'm twiddling my thumbs. It's 5:01. It's 5:20. The person never showed up, and they've already given somebody else their credit card and they're gone. So you have to have that mentality that if you don't get it, somebody else will. I will get it. If I'm on the phones, I'm going to go after that person much harder and just as hard as anybody else. So it's giving me the opportunity to get that sale. And you guys have to have that mindset going into this thing. There is no golden thing. There is no secret, despite all the things that we see out there, right? From influencers, from all these people that are out there that say that you don't have to do this, that you don't have to do that, that forget about all that. This is about a simple process of leads plus activity equals sales. That model, that equation will never change until we have AI that takes over all of us, and then it's a different conversation, right? But until that happens, it is leads plus activity, and you can even throw in skill, right? Plus activity and skill equals sales. If you can just focus on that and tune out all the other white noise that you're going to hear all over the place, you will be successful. And the top people, guys, like I manage, right, just from outside of this agency, and we mentioned David Duford, right? But there's people on Duford's team that are doing $15,000, $20,000 a week in production. Do you know what those guys are doing, or gals? Simple. They're doing one thing. They live on the phones. They are persistent. they have sharpened their sales skills, and they don't take no for an answer if there's a deal to be had. And they spend the time and the activity, the repetition that's necessary to pull the deals out. I feed them the leads, the people take them and do the activity. So if you guys can do those things, there is literally a 0% chance that you will not be successful, right? Zero. You just have to follow the activity and the process. So any questions with this?
Yep. Thank you for that. This is great. So when you're getting these booked appointments versus working on the dialer, is there a particular strategy that you would recommend as far as, okay, now I'm calling my booked appointments, now I'm going back on the dialer, back and forth? What's the best way you would recommend us working both of those avenues?
Well, look, I think that right now there are hot lists or what are called buckets, perhaps, that are set up in Kixie for you guys as leads come in. And every agency runs a little bit differently. So, I need to know a little bit more about how things are set up. But primarily, if you have somebody who booked an appointment and you come in, today, 9 a.m., I come in and I look at, all the leads that I have in my dialer. And then I look at my calendar and I see that I have, 3 or 4 appointments, 5 or 6 appointments. Knock out those appointment calls right then and there, because you're not going to have 100 of them, right? It's only going to be a handful of them. So before you jump on the dialer and call regular, dial those appointments. See if you can't get someone on the phone. The great thing about the system that JD and the team has put together for you guys, and that we put together for you guys, is that as we grow, and as we find things that work, we're creating, and JD's creating specific lists and specific buckets where people will go into. And I know that you guys have probably talked about this. That's why dispositioning is so important, right? When you speak to a lead, what is the action that took place? Is it a dead deal? The person is sick and they're literally got a half a foot in the grave. Maybe that's somebody that we don't need to call again. But how about somebody that you spoke to, had a great conversation, but for A, B, C, D reason, they didn't convert? Well, gosh, that's somebody that we need to call back, right? Maybe in a week, maybe in 2 weeks. And so your system, your power dialer, has automated logic that as long as you guys are dispositioning your calls properly, that logic can actually take place, right? And know that, okay, we spoke to this person today, it didn't become a sale, but you know what? It's going to go into our bucket where the system will automatically call that person again in 5 days, in 10 days, in 14 days, and so on and so forth. So the back end of this is providing you the tools to be efficient. So there isn't too much that you guys need to do on the front end other than just dial, stay on it. And yes, so if you have appointments, call those first. Just dial them quickly. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see if I can get something out of this. Nothing came of it. Perfect. I'm still going to show up for that call tomorrow at 5, right? Like if I get a lead again today, it's booked for tomorrow at 5, and I call that person today 3 times, I get no response. Okay. I'm going to show up for that call at 5 o'clock tomorrow. I'll be there because maybe they really couldn't speak to me when I was trying to call them right then and there. But maybe they really did have a purpose and they really did look at their schedule and they will be there at 5 o'clock tomorrow. So if the person doesn't answer right now, that doesn't mean like, oh, this is a dead lead. Never. That just means like, cool, now I move on to the next ones. And tomorrow at 5 o'clock, I'm going to be there. And hopefully Mr. Jones is there waiting for my call. The point is to just be active, stay active. Don't let anything deter you from the activity that you must do to pull out the leads. This goes into like how you wake up every day, right? Because there's days where we're like, man, I don't want to get on the phones today or right. And that happens to everybody. There is no person out there, people that are at the highest level of sales. There is not one person out there that every single day they wake up and they go, gosh, I can't wait to dial 150 numbers, right? I can't wait to get hung up on 20 times today. None of us have that expectation, right? But the difference between power players, people that are top closers, and the people that fall off is that we have discipline, right? And we follow through with that discipline. I don't care that I'm going to get hung up on. I don't care that my head hurts. I don't care that I don't feel great today. None of that stuff matters, because at the end of the week, I need to make sure that I can pay my bills and feed my family and grow my own self and grow my business. And you guys should be looking at this very much the same, right? Like, you guys are under a hierarchy of 360 and you're part of the agency, but you're building your business within this, right? You have complete control of how much money you're going to make. You have complete control of how good you're going to be on the phones. You have complete control of how you act every single day that you show up to work. And so you're building your own thing. JD, I'm sure, is never going to babysit you and call you and say, hey, did you brush your teeth today? Right? Hey, did you eat breakfast today? Hey, did you call your leads? No, because if you're there, then you're not ready for this, right? If you're at a place where you're not getting on the phones and you're not doing the activity, then you must look at yourself and be honest with yourself and say, gosh, am I ready to do this? Some people are not, guys. And that's a reality that we all have to face. And that's okay. Not everybody is meant to do these things. But the sooner you understand that, right, and you're true to yourself and say, you know what, I'm here to work. I'm here to be disciplined. I'm here to do the activity required to produce, right? And you accept and you know that you're going to do that, then gosh, you're way ahead of the most people that are out there. Because most agents that come into this business, all they see is the people on social media that say that they make $250,000 a year, or that they made $100,000 in 3 months, or that, you know, they closed all this business and the fancy cars and all this bullshit that's out there. The reality is that none of that stuff comes without real dedication and real discipline. And if they're really making that money, man, they are going through hell and back every day to get to $250,000 a year, right? They just have the mindset and the discipline to get through the tough days. I had one on Friday. Friday, I had a meltdown in my office, right? And it was just like, this client didn't go good. This one didn't go right. This one did. It was just like a massive, it just happened, right? And things happen in that way, right? Sometimes I say things happen in threes, good things and bad things. And Friday was one of those days. Now, I could have curled up in a ball and just like, oh, what do I do? You know, and not paid attention and not had the discipline to come in head first and say, okay, what happened here? Yes, here's where I made a mistake. Yes, here's what I need to do. Okay, perfect. Fix it. On to the next one. On to the next one. That takes discipline, guys. So it's super important. And I'm glad that we're not going into the pitch just yet, because this is the thing. And I would tell you guys that if you're out there, if you're sitting right now listening to my words and you're like, man, this guy's hitting it on the head, right? Like, I don't know if I'm cut for this. I don't know if this is for me. Then when you finish this call today, take 10 minutes, take 20 minutes, analyze things, and understand that if you want to be successful in this business, it's going to take grit, discipline, and consistency, guys. Everything else is done for you. I promise you. Everything else. Leads are there. CRM is there. The dialer is there. Support is there. All the tools that you need are there for you to make this work. But if you guys are not going to do it, nobody can do it for you. And the sooner you accept that and analyze, the better you're going to be. You might be better fit doing something else. But if you're going to be here and you're going to listen to my trainings and JD's and all the people that are going to come after me to train you, man, you got to be ready to take that information and jump on the phones and go get them over and over and over again. Okay? Questions on that?
Yeah, Oscar,
We're
I'll
good.
say thank you for giving us the kind of the context I felt like we kind of needed as far as, you know, the lead generation, kind of what they're seeing on their end, the mentality, and I feel like it just gives context to what we're doing as professionals, like what our role is, how we fit into this, how we should approach this, what I should think about it, what do my days look like, that kind of thing. I think that was massively important for me to hear that for the entire team. So just speaking for everybody, I'll say that. But yeah, I'm curious to see anybody here has feedback, questions, comments, thoughts, ideas, rebuttals, anything that Oscar said, because I felt like it was massively valuable. I'm curious how y'all's thoughts or feelings.
I think Dennis raised his hand. I think I saw him raise his hand. Dennis, what's your question, bud?
I didn't have a question. I was just applauding, man.
Oh.
Inspired by
Oh,
the-
awesome. Okay.
yeah, no. Good job.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, look, it's so important, guys, because again, like, man, it's so easy. And I see it every day, right? Like I'm on social media, I have a presence on social media, and I see this, and it makes me, it's part of the reason why I really started doing what I'm doing now, is because of all the BS that you see out there and all these like shiny objects that people in insurance, companies in insurance are trying to sell you, right? Buy pre-booked appointments, buy closed deals. You don't have to call anybody. You can do this. You can make $1 million by not calling anybody. Man, it is so infuriating to me because this is such a good industry, right? And it's right now primed for people to do the right thing. For many years, especially life insurance has been plagued with all these MLN structures and all these like just terrible models that are made to recruit thousands of agents a month, throw them all at a wall, right? Let's toss them all at the wall and see who sticks. And that's why a lot of you hear and see the quote or the stat that 90% of salespeople in the insurance business and life insurance fail out, right? In 2-3 months. That's not because people don't know what they're doing or because people don't want to work. It's because of the models that are out there that basically take people, throw them against the wall, don't provide support, don't provide training, don't provide real facts on what's coming. And so people fall out. Because if you guys don't have an understanding of what a lead is, where it comes from, how to attack it, how to progress, then your own thoughts will take over, right? Your own emotions will take over this and will push yourself out, right? You will find reasons why something isn't working and you'll come up with it and you'll come up with a conspiracy theory and you'll come up with all these things on why something is not working. But if we give you clear direction, clear insights on where the lead comes from, how to attack it, how to connect with the person, then we don't leave it up to emotion. We don't leave it up to guesses. It's all facts, right? And all we need to do is just act and take action on things. So super important, guys. I think, I don't know how much time we have, JD, if I can get into a little bit of just maybe intro, or you tell me how much time we have.
You know, I've definitely got time, and if any of you have appointments, I don't see any appointments looking at our kind of team calendar here. I don't see any appointments on the book right now for the next few minutes. So yeah, if you want to throw something at us, kind of give us a teaser, get us an introduction and opener, and then we can continue the rest of the conversation during our next call.
Perfect. Okay. So what I want to do is again, just like we talked about a little bit of just like insights and like mindset of prior to getting on a call, I'll give you some insights and thoughts that you should have going into a call. And like now I'm on the call with this person. What should I be focused on and the things that I should be doing, right? So the person now answers the call, right? You've introed yourself. And what I want to do is on the next call, we'll go into the pitch that you guys are doing and we'll really break it down. For right now, what I want to do is give you guys the understanding of how you're going to connect with these folks, no matter the pitch that you're using, because there's a million pitches out there and many of them work. Much more than the pitch is you. You are the sauce. You are the secret to this entire process. And so the better you can understand how to maneuver into a call, how to get people to drop down their guard and give you the information that you're looking for, the more powerful you become as a tool, right? And so we intro the person. The first thing that I need to know and that I want to break down is why is this person on the phone with me? Right? Why did they click on my ad? Why did they fill out my lead form? Why did you pick up the phone? Why now? Why not 6 months ago? Right? These are all really, really important questions that I want to get answered before I talk about medical conditions and how much something costs and what the process is. Forget about all that, Mr. Jones. I'm more interested in you. I'm more interested in connecting with you at this very moment and understanding what made you click on my ad today. It's a question that not many people are asking them, by the way, right? Here's how most people go about pitching and closing, just sales in general. Most salespeople are driven by price, quotes, rates, right? That's all we know. That's all they're going after is they want to get, I got to give this person the quote. I got to get to the price. I got to pull up my quoting tool. How much am I going to give them? How much coverage are they going to, man, right? And you get overwhelmed by that, which has, in the grand scheme of things, very little effect on whether somebody's going to buy, right? What's most important is, why are you looking for this now? What has happened in your life that has you clicking on an ad for life insurance? Is it that somebody recently died in your family? Because if so, gosh, that's a huge pain point that I want to explode, that I want to talk about. I want to hear that person talk about the fact that somebody just died 3 months ago, their sister, their brother, their father. And as a result of that, they're now clicking on an ad for final expense. You have to attach emotion to the sale, because if all you're selling is price, if all you're selling is a quote, gosh, you're not going to do very well, guys. Because I'm going to come along and I'm going to talk to Mr. Jones, and I don't care what Mr. Jones is paying. I'm going to connect with Mr. Jones on a very different level. And likely Mr. Jones is going to say, gosh, I want to do business with this guy, right? I forgot even this other person's name that sold me a price, a quote. And if you only learn how to sell price, your conversions will be much lower. Your retention rate will be much lower, and your business, your profits will be much lower. Because when I get on the phone with someone, I'm going to connect with that person on a level that most people are not. Just like I'm trying to do with you guys right now, right? I'm trying to connect with you guys, give you the information, put you in a place where you go, wow, this guy knows his shit, right? And if you can get that reaction from people on the other end of the phone, nobody can ever take that deal from you. That person will never go with anybody else. That person will come back to you because it wasn't just about a price. Anybody can sell price, right? Anybody. At this point, we do life insurance. So it's a little bit different, but think about like car insurance, right? What is the main value of car insurance? Say 15% on your car insurance policy, right? Geico, State Farm, say 10 or 15%. That's all they sell, right? There is no value other than price. And so if you sell price, you will die by price, right? And it's why people switch car insurance an average of every 3 to 6 months, right? It's because there is no value other than me saving a few bucks a month. So if somebody comes along and saves me 30 bucks more, well, shoot, I'm going to go there because there's nothing else holding me to that, right? There is nothing else other than a price. So know that going into this, that you want to try to connect. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to spend hours and hours on the phone with somebody. It just means that you're going to be very direct in the beginning and understand why Mr. Jones is on this phone call. And that could be questions. And again, we're going to go through your pitch and what you guys are kind of going through. But for me, it's important to first ask that. Well, hey, JD, so before I kind of get started on things, I just want to kind of ask and get to know you a little bit more. Like, what made you click on the ad today? And I'll shut up and I'll just listen. Because, and we'll get into this also in the next coming calls, but the sale, guys, is in them, right? Like they are telling you how to sell them by the things that they answer and how they answer to the questions that you give them. So if you are just talking and rambling without pausing and saying things like, if you notice in this conversation, I've stopped several times and said, does that make sense? Do you guys have any questions? Because if I just ramble through this whole thing, we solve nothing. So the sale is on the other end of the phone. It's not in front of you in the quoting tool. It's not on the e-application. It's the person that's sitting on the other end of the phone. So you have to pay attention to every single detail that they say, right? You always hear like, you can hear someone or you can listen to someone, right? And if you guys are older and you know the movie White Man Can't Jump, right? You can hear Jimmy, but you can't listen to Jimmy, right? If anybody knows where that comes from, like raise a hand, right?
That's old school, bro.
Some of you guys know. There you go. John knows, right? You can hear Jimmy, you can't listen. You can listen to Jimmy, you don't hear Jimmy, right? And that's very true in sales, right? If you are listening but you're not hearing what they're saying, you're going to miss the sale, guys. You're going to miss it because the person is talking and telling you about, and we'll do some call reviews and you guys will go, man, I wasn't hearing Jimmy. I was listening to Jimmy, but I wasn't hearing him. And what that means is the person might be telling you this story about why they need it and the pain point that they have. But you're over here on your computer typing in their date of birth into the quoting tool and trying different amounts to see price points and see what carrier you're going to price them. And so you're not paying attention and you're losing the sale. So you have to remember that the sale is on the other end of the phone, and the stronger your questions are, the more those questions make somebody feel a certain type of way, the better the answer is, and the more ammunition you're getting to convert that person into the sale as you get closer to the end of the call. So if JD says to me, hey, well, what made you click on the ad? Well, I don't know. It just caught my attention, right? Some people will say that very kind of vague, not really a whole lot of information there. Well, it just caught my attention. You know, what do you have to offer me? How much is this cost? JD, those are all great questions, my friend, and I want to get to answer every one of those, right? I immediately I tell him that we're going to get to what he wants, and I also want to learn a little bit more. So, all right, so you clicked on it just because it caught your attention. Let me ask you this. Have you had something set up to protect family? Like, JD, if you died tomorrow, God forbid, who's responsible for paying for your final expenses, for the $10,000 or $15,000 that your family will likely have to come up with? And I shut up. Now, if you noticed, my tonality completely shifted there, right? It wasn't aggressive. I slowed down, right? And I proposed a question that's going to make them think. And they're going to think about it. Right? I didn't say, hey, JD, if you die tomorrow, what's going to, no. I took it back. Hey, JD, gosh, if you die tomorrow and God forbid that happens, my friend, who's going to come up with the $15,000 that you're going to have to pay, that your family will have to pay? Like, who specifically would have to come up with that money? Right? Now we're going to get them thinking. They don't know who I am. They don't know what I have to offer. But more importantly, I'm asking them a question that 95% of agents are not asking out there. And I'm going to get them thinking, not about me and how to say no to me and how to object me, because I'm not selling you anything right now. I'm just connecting with you as a person. What does happen if you die tomorrow? Like, who's responsible? And they're going to say, right? You're either going to start breaking them a little bit or they'll continue the vagueness, right? Most people will start breaking a little bit. They'll say, well, man, it'd probably be my wife and, or my children. If I don't have a spouse, it'd probably be my children. Gotcha. Right? Because if you tell me that your children are going to be responsible for paying a death bill man, we got a lot to talk about here, right? And so that's what I want. I want somebody to tell. They're going to tell you. Well, it'll be my spouse. Got it. And JD, just a follow-up question here, sir. Is she in a financial place to be able to do that? Or do you think she'd have to like borrow money or like start a GoFundMe or gosh, maybe even like go bankrupt trying to come up with this money? Question mark. And I shut up again. And now I'm driving them deeper into the pain point, right? I'm nailing down, right? Because now they've told me it's a spouse or it's a child. Perfect. I'm now going to paint the picture of what that person is going to feel if they then have to come up with this money and they don't have it. Now, we know final expense is a product for fixed income individuals, right? That's 90% of the people that we're speaking to, because people that have money and have assets already have this stuff set up, right? So remember that. You're talking to folks that are lower income, fixed income people that just have never had the money to be able to do this stuff, or just procrastinated and took too long to set it up, and now here they are. They're in their, later part of life. Doesn't mean they don't love their children, right? Doesn't mean that they don't love their families. It just means that life has happened and they haven't set these things up. So I need to dig deep with this person and get them to feel what will happen if you literally die tomorrow because you're 55 or you're 60 or you have diabetes or all these things that this person is going to start giving you throughout this pitch that you're going to utilize to make them see and understand that, gosh, life is fragile, JD, right? You could pass tomorrow. And as a parent, the most tough thing to think about is to leave our children or our families stuck with a bill on top of them mourning you. What a terrible thought. Like you think about that right now. If you guys have children, think about you dying today and your children and family devastated, right? And then a nurse walking into the hospital and saying, "Hey guys, I'm sorry for your loss, but we need to start setting up funeral arrangements. Who's the person in charge here?" And that person doesn't have the money to pay, or they don't have the funds. What could be worse as a parent to think about that? It kills me, right? It would kill me to think that I would leave my two children stuck or my wife stuck with those things. And it would any parent. And so if you can identify these things right at the beginning of the call, this doesn't become about price. Who cares about price, right? All within means, right? Obviously, all within a budget. But what's important here is not how much this is costing. What's important here is the problem that we're solving. And that's keeping your family from tragedy, right? Keeping your family from having to do a GoFundMe, from having to go bankrupt, from having to max out credit cards just to pay for your funeral. And so the conversation shifts. Again, it's not about price now. The person starts letting down their guard because I'm connecting with them. And I take every opportunity to relate to people, right? If whatever JD answers me in that question, like how will they, gosh, I don't know. I haven't thought about it. No, she's got a couple bucks saved in the savings account, so she'd probably have to use that, or maybe some credit cards. I might relate. I might come back and say, gosh, that's tough. Obviously, now I understand, JD, why you clicked on the ad. Because the last thing you want to do is have your wife struggle or your spouse struggle or your kids struggle financially just to pay for your funeral. Would you agree with that? Right? And now I'm getting them to confirm the need that they have, right? Now I'm putting them in a place. What are they going to say to that question? No, you're wrong, right? No, they're going to say, yeah, no, you're right. That is why I clicked on this. Okay, fantastic. And would this be the first time setup, or like, do you have something set up for your family already? No, this is my first time setup. Fantastic. Well, I just want to tell you, JD, look, again, this is going to take us just a few minutes. We'll go through the process. I'll explain to you everything that's available for you. We'll go through the numbers, all that stuff. But now I really understand that you have a need for this product because some people don't, right? Some people die and they have things set up for their family and they don't have to worry financially about it. But it sounds like you're in a position that's a little bit different. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to present you with the options that you'll have so that you can properly protect your family. So that if, again, God forbid, you die tomorrow, JD, your family just has to mourn you. They don't have to figure out a financial point to this. Does that make sense? Right? What's that person going to say to that? Yeah, shit, that makes a lot of sense. Cool. What do you got? I've dropped the guard, right? Again, this isn't about quote. This isn't about price. This isn't about nothing. And so these first questions are extremely, extremely important in some way, shape, or form. Now, you guys might have these questions in your pitch. You guys might not have these questions in your pitch. There are many ways to skin the cat, as they say, right? This is my way, right? Our goal will be over the course of these next series of trainings that we do together, how do we merge what you guys are working with right now, your current pitch, right? Because the pitch that you're using is not wrong. It's just a different pitch, right? And so right now, I don't want you to think like, well, we don't say that. We're not asking. Don't worry about that. Okay. We're going to merge these things and we're going to make something that's going to work for each and every one of you. Ideally, we have a system that we can follow, and especially for the new folks that you can go through and read and spit out. But for you veterans, right, that you already understand the concept and the process, the things that I tell you should just be things that you pull out nuggets and you incorporate them into what's already been working for you in this business. Because there's nuggets in here. Okay. So questions on that very first part of the pitch and how I kind of introduce and where I'm going to in the beginning. Questions, comments on that whatsoever?
Hey, Oscar, thank you for that. It's great information, and I look forward to hearing about the call reviews that you had mentioned. Yeah. The call reviews are really important because a lot of times it's hard for especially salespeople, right? We all have an ego. We all think we're the best, right? I think I'm the best salesman. I know I'm not, but I think I am. And all of you should feel the same way. Whether you just started or you're a veteran in the business, you have that confidence. And if you don't have it, start building the confidence. You're going to get there. And so it's very sometimes hard for a salesperson to hear that they're doing something wrong just on a conversation like this. Mm-hmm. Everything changes when we're listening to you on a call and we can clearly hear and you can hear yourself where your faults lie, right? Where we can identify and say, hey, do you see how you led that call there? Do you see that moment that you said this specifically? Can you tell how that person reacted? Can you tell how this shifted the conversation and likely was the starting point of you losing this deal, or likely was the starting point of you gaining this deal? It's very hard for that salesperson in that moment to deny it because they're listening to themselves on the phone call. So call reviews are extremely, extremely powerful when it comes to training. And remember that when I do a call review with you guys, I'm not doing it to make you feel bad, to make you feel stupid, to make you feel like you don't know what you're talking about. None of those things. Remember, emotions have to take a side note here. This is about business and becoming better at what we're doing. So call reviews, if I call you out on a review and we go through it, it's because I want you to see, hear, and understand the things that are perhaps keeping you from achieving a close, or the things that you're doing like, wow, I might listen to the call and go, man, you're a superstar. Get off the phone, get off this call. You need to go dial, But more often than not, even with top closers, and I just had this with one of my guys that's been with me for years. On Thursday, I did call reviews for him. He asked me to, right? Because we've built that relationship of being coachable. And we always hear this in sales, right? We have to be coachable. If you are not coachable, it's going to be very hard for you to excel and go to the next level. You'll be stuck at where you are. if you're not a coachable person. So last week, a guy that writes, you know, $20,000, $30,000 a week in sales in my business, I went through and I did 2 call reviews for him, and we found some faults, right? We found some places where we listened to it. I told him, you know, I said, hey, you hear that? You lost the sale right there, right? And he listened and he said, man, you're so right. I totally gave up there. I totally did this. I totally did that. Through this process is how we're going to get better as a whole, right? So call reviews are coming. Any questions specifically on just that first part, like getting to pain points, understanding why somebody actually is clicking on your ad or why somebody wants this information? Man, everyone in here is just ready. Everyone in here is just ready to get on the phones then, you know? It's like, all right, we're ready to go, guys.
Shantina, do you have a question?
Tina, yeah, I don't have a necessarily a question, but for someone that's new to the industry, this was extremely helpful as it relates to the script or the fluidity of the dialogue between you and a client. So this was extremely helpful. So thank you.
Good, awesome. By the way, you have a great voice, right? You have a very good voice on the phone. Use it, right? You sound just well spoken, and so these are things that we want to utilize. Because again, remember, we don't see these people; they don't see us. I can't read your face. If I was in front of you and you were, and I think JD's got a face-to-face expert coming in the next couple of days or something, but that's a different sale, right? Because they're in front of you. I can see your mannerisms. I can see your reactions to what I'm saying. So I don't want to say it's easier, but it's just a different process where it allows me to have more access to how that person is reacting to the things that I'm saying or not saying. So our voices on a call is our tool. And where we bring the voice, right? Tonality is super, super, super important. Tonality can get you a deal. It can just the same kill your deal. So when I get to important questions, I slow myself down, right? And my tonality becomes one of more, I'm questioning. I want to know more information. I'm curious. And that's going to them, that's going to feel real. That's going to help them connect to you, right? In the olden days, and you see people that are like from like Northeast, like New Yorkers, right? New Yorkers are, or just East Coast, Northeast Coast people are some of the best people on the phones, right? Because a lot of them are aggressive, they're strong, they have a presence on the phone. And so they're really good at keeping someone engaged and getting them through a close. I've seen a shift in that over the last probably 5 or 10 years that I've been in sales, right? To a different approach. Because again, like I said, there's more than one way to skin a cat. Some of us are not. Some of us are not like aggressive and like, you know, punch people in the wall and get them to close. Some of us are not that. Some of us have a very different approach. And you can be successful being the person that you are right now. You don't need to be anybody else on the phone. You just need to be yourself and follow a good structure of a pitch, and that's going to yield you guys results. Okay. I think we probably leave it there because I know we've covered a lot of information. I don't want to like overwhelm. So I think we probably leave it there. If you guys think of other questions between now and the next session that I do, feel free to obviously send it over to JD, send it to me, and we'll get that stuff answered for you. And I look forward to, again, the next call. I'll have the pitch that you guys are utilizing, and we'll try to start going through that pitch and giving you pointers on how to improve on that actual pitch. Not really changing it, because I know that pitch works because I've seen it. And so I know that it works. It's being used. So I just want to give you some additional pointers that you can put your own kind of 2 cents into it. Okay.
Cool. Thank you again, Oscar. I appreciate you going above and beyond. And again, I know I speak for everybody here on the team that we greatly appreciate this. Added a lot of value and context for our team moving forward. So thank you once again.
Awesome. Awesome, guys. Glad that I could be a part of it. And I look forward to the next one, man. Let's get it. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone in here like succeed and push through. Everybody in here can be successful in this business. And I don't know any one of you in here, but I just know that if you apply and you do the things that you're supposed to do with the training and the system that's in place, there's no reason why anybody on this phone call isn't doing $20,000 to $30,000 a month in premiums in the coming months. Literally zero. So have that mindset, stick to it, ask questions, right? I didn't get a lot of questions today, which I'll leave you with this last thought. When I don't get questions, it means either people are not all there, right? They might not be listening, paying attention, or they're nervous to ask questions. They don't know what to ask. Ask questions, guys, especially you new guys. You can never ask enough questions right now. Where you guys are, new people, man, you can't ask enough questions. You should turn every single stone that's coming up in your head. You should be asking about it and getting questions. And I hope that next conversation that we have here, that everybody really comes forward. And I want to hear everybody's voice. I want to hear some questions. I want to hear some feedback, because that's the only way we get better, guys. Okay, so keep that in mind. Go get them. Get on the phones. Go do your thing, and we'll talk on the next one.
Thank you, Oscar.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
man.
Thanks, Oscar.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
guys. Take
It was helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.